What is going on, guys? Welcome to my Phantom Muspah guide. So this boss came out just a few days before this guide is coming out, but we've already got it figured out. We got it down. My personal best on this so far is 2 minutes and 4 seconds, down from like 5 minutes for my first few kills. So I've improved a lot. At the time that I'm doing this video, I have between 75 and 100 kills, and my average kill time at this point is right around 2 minutes and 15 seconds. So for this guide, we're going through your hard requirements, suggested requirements, location, how to get there, a few different suggested gear setups, boss room layout, mechanics and attacks, and I've got 2 example kills near the end of the video with commentary for you guys. So without further ado, let's get into this one. Hard requirements. As for your hard requirements, in order to fight this boss, it is a repeatable quest boss, so you have to finish the newest quest as of the time of this video, which is Secrets of the North. The quest really won't take you that long. There is a quick guide on the wiki. It'll take you about 30 to 45 minutes for this master level quest. Once you complete that, you are on your way to some pretty good loot, at least for the time being. Suggested requirements. For your suggested requirements, these are the stats that I recommend you have at a bare minimum to do this boss and not pretty much flounder around and try to figure out what you're doing. As for range level, I would suggest that you have a range level of at least level 85. This boss's defense is pretty decent. It has a lot of HP, so lower range levels can be a detriment to kill times if you get the kills at all. As for your magic level, I'm suggesting level 94, and that is for the Ice Barrage spell. You can kite this boss around in its melee form pretty easily with Ice Barrage, so this is something it's very nice to have. You probably can get away with Ice Blitz if you don't have level 94 magic. If you don't have level 94 magic, I probably wouldn't attempt this myself without at least level 85. As for defense level, I would say level 70. This boss can hit pretty hard, and the melee attacks do hit pretty well through Protect from Melee Prayer. As for the ranged attacks, they do not hit that well through prayer, but they still can damage you. As for your prayer level, level 70, you probably actually could get away with just Eagle Eye Prayer and Mystic Might, which is considerably lower than this, but I'm suggesting you have level 70 to have some more prayer points. Your prayer potions restore more prayer stats. So that's what you got. 85 range, 94 magic, level 70 defense, and 70 prayer. Location and how to get there. As for our location and how to get there, you probably already know how, but since we do it in every video, we're going to cover it anyways, especially if you're coming here looking for a guide to complete the quest portion of this boss. So you're going to teleport to Weiss. This boss is located in the salt mines underneath of this troll town. So you're going to go to the Weiss teleport and then just slightly south around the farming patches there. You're going to hop over a little boulder, continue to the east, squeeze through the broken fence, and then go down the steps directly to your north. Once you get in there, you're just going to go south to the doors that are just south of the ladder that takes you into the salt mine. Once there, you'll be in sort of like a frozen tomb or kind of like a jail or something. You're going to run east and then take the corridor directly south. You'll see a crack in the wall, and that is the Phantom Muspah's room. Suggested gear setups. Starting out with our low tier setup, this is the bottom of the barrel. This is what I suggest you have at a bare minimum to do this boss. It can do some high amounts of damage, and you want to have the best DPS available to you. Obviously, all of these setups are just suggestions. Mix and match with what you have available to you at the time. For this, we're going with the full Gothix D'hide set. Obviously, any of the God D'hide armor will work. For this, we're going with the Dragon Crossbow. You want to have something that can shoot dragon bolts. They do have a higher range strength, so they will do more DPS than your typical bolts. Ava's Assembler, Amulet of Glory, Barrow's Gloves, and a Brimstone Ring will round that out. You'll have your Dragon Ruby Bolts enchanted in your quiver at the time you start the fight. Over in the inventory, you'll need a magic switch. So we're going with Mystic and the Farseer Helm, as well as a Book of Darkness and a Trident of the Seas. You'll also want to have some Dragon Diamond Bolts enchanted and some Sapphire Bolts enchanted, and we'll go over why in a little bit. One Bastion Potion. This is nice because it boosts range and defense. You'll definitely want the extra defense levels. Super Restores. Couple of Carambuan with some Manta Rays just for some panic eats if you absolutely have to. In the inventory also, we have a Basalt teleport there. That one will take you to Weiss. Stamina potion, because you will be running around the boss's room quite a bit when you're starting to get the hang of this. House teleports to get yourself out in a rune pouch with barrage runes or blitz runes in it, depending on what you're using. Highly suggest barrage, but if you want to try it with blitz, it probably shouldn't be a problem. For our medium tier setup, getting a little bit more expensive here. Armadillo helmet, Amulet of Fury. We also have the Ava's Assembler here and the Dragon Bolts Enchanted, the ruby ones as well. Armadillo crossbow, upgrade to the bow, Carol's leather top and skirt, Bando shield, but any of them will work, or some other ranging shield if you do have it. Barrow's gloves, Guthix D'hide boots, and a brimstone ring. Over in the inventory, a little bit of upgrades here. We've got the Aram set, Infinity boots, occult necklace, malediction ward, the imbued god cape, and a trident of the swamp. Everything else in the inventory remains the same. Again, we'll go over the sapphire bolts in a bit. Next up is our high tier setup, and this one's getting pretty expensive, but it's still not our best in slot option, which we'll go over next. This one, we have the full Armadillo armor set. That is the helmet, the chest plate, and the chain skirt. Necklace of Anguish, Ava's Assembler. In our quiver, we have our sapphire bolts here because our weapon of choice is the Bofa. If you don't have one of those, obviously just use the crossbow available to you. Barrow's gloves, Pegasian boots, and a Ring of Suffering RI. Over in the inventory, we swapped out the Aram's hood for the ancestral hat. We've also swapped out the shield for a wyvern shield and the staff for a sanguinesti staff. For the rest of it, we still have all of the same stuff here, minus the diamond and ruby bolts, because you're not using a crossbow with this setup. But if you are, obviously throw those back in. For our best in slot setup, this one is big money. We've got the full Missouri set that is fortified. Necklace of Anguish, Ava's Assembler cape, or the Assembler if you're not maxed, obviously. Dragon arrows along with a twisted bow, Zerite Vambraces, Pegasian boots, and our ring is going to be the Lightbearer ring. The Lightbearer ring, because of its passive effect to regenerate special attack energy quicker. This one, over in the inventory, we've got the full Ancestral kit along with Eternal boots, the Tormented bracelet, occult necklace, and Tumakin's shadow. We also have a Zerite crossbow in here as well, along with the sapphire bolts. The Zerite crossbow special attack provides doubled accuracy on the next shot, and it will guarantee the special effect of any enchanted bolts used, provided that the hit is successful. So it's very nice to have a Zerite crossbow, but not necessary for this boss. If you do have the Zerite crossbow, it's just going to make your kills a little bit shorter. As for the rest of the inventory, Bastion Potion, 3 Super Restores, 10 Manta Rays, Stamina Potion, Imbued Heart, Max Cape, or House Teleports, however you want to get out, and your Rune Pouch with your Barrage Runes in it. Boss Room Layout. Checking out the boss room, what you see on the screen here is what you'll be walking into. It's pretty much just a square room where the boss is. Now the room is nice and big, and you will need to kite the boss around. You'll need to do some moving, so it's very nice that it is this big. You'll notice there in the bottom right that there is one marked tile. It is 7 tiles north and 4 tiles west from the walls. I like this tile because when I stand here, it helps me to avoid and keep track of one of the special attacks that this boss does. I will talk about this during the example kills, so definitely pay attention during that part. Mechanics and attacks. First up, we will talk about the 3 forms of the Phantom Muspah. There is a ranged form. This form is mostly green, has different greenish tints to it. The Phantom Muspah in this ranged form will only use ranged attacks as this basic attack, and every now and then it will use a magic attack, which it will sort of grab its head and then throw a purple ball at you. Now don't panic when this comes. Much like mechanics in some of the raids, it will not damage you until it actually hits you. So most attacks in old school RuneScape, they're actually calculated when the attack starts, but this one you have plenty of time to change your prayer. As soon as you see the Phantom Muspah grabbing its head, turn your mage prayer on. After the attack hits, switch right back to ranged. Next up is the melee form, which is kind of like brownish and orange. In this form, it will only do melee damage, so it's very nice to have those barrage and blitz spells with you. You can freeze it, turn off your overhead prayer, and then continue to mage the Muspah until it changes forms again. Our last form is a shielded form. This one is a brighter green, and this will happen when the Muspah is near death. This one is a reinforced range state. It will have a different way to kill it once we get to this, and we'll explain this in just a little bit. Now let's talk about the Muspah special attack. Let's start out again with that purple ball. So this purple ball will be an energy attack generated in its mouth as it raises its arms. When this animation starts, you want to turn on your Protect from Magic to completely block the attack. If you fail to activate Protect from Magic in time, this attack can do over 60 damage. So definitely keep your HP above 60 if you're experiencing some lag issues or if you have a little trouble switching your prayers. If you pray against this attack midway or pretty much basically right when it hits you, it's going to deal moderate damage instead. Additionally, if you do take damage from this, it will apply corruption to you, which will drain 3, 6, and 9 prayer points every 6 seconds for a total of 18 prayer points over the course of 18 seconds. You can cast the Ward of Arceus to become temporarily immune to being corrupted, but it's not really worth it to bring. Next up is the Charged Clouds attack. The Muspah will rapidly teleport around the arena, leaving behind charged clouds that travel across the arena. All of these clouds only move in one direction. They will not change direction. Whichever direction they are going when they start is the same path that they do keep going on. Now, there is a tile that is recommended to stand on the wiki, and it says you can completely avoid damage to this. Now, by the time I'm putting this guide out, I'm not sure if they hotfixed this, but I swear I was standing on that tile and there were still clouds coming at me that could hit me. So you can try it for yourself, but this may have been hotfixed. Getting hit by one of these clouds as it's moving through can do up to 20 damage, so you definitely want to stay away from them. If you are standing on the tile that I marked in the boss room layout, or this one that is mentioned on the wiki, if it still works, then you will always have the ability to hit it if you're using a ranged weapon with a distance of 10. Once the Charged Clouds attack is over, the Muspah will always appear to the northeast when this special attack is finished, and it can still be attacked while it is teleporting around the room. Your character will automatically focus it no matter where it is, as long as you are still attacking it. The last special attack is the homing spikes. The Muspah will slam the ground and it will generate between 2 and 4 homing spikes, and these spikes will just track you across the room. So all you have to do is kite away from these. If you do stand behind a group of spikes that are already solidified, the homing spikes cannot get to you, so you can actually just camp behind one of those. I prefer to keep moving, but it is entirely up to you what you want to do. These last two special attacks that we just talked about generally come around 75% and 50% health when the Muspah is at those thresholds. It is completely random which one is going to come first, so don't expect the Charged Clouds or the homing spikes to always be first or second. It is random whichever one you get. The last thing I will mention before we get into the shielded phase is going to be the form changes. Every time the Muspah changes form between melee and range, it will slam the ground and pop up some spikes in the arena. One will always appear under your feet, but you will have a visual indicator of it, giving you plenty of time to just move off of that tile and continue your attacks. Alright, on to the shielding phase. The shielded phase will happen once the Muspah reaches less than 150 HP. The Phantom Muspah will teleport to the center of the room and unleash a shockwave that takes up the entire arena. The only thing you have to do here is just run and stand behind some of the spikes that have already been created. These spikes will block the shockwave. If you do not get behind spikes in time, it can deal up to 80 damage. Once that is finished, it will change into its shielded form, activating the Prayer Soul Split. The shield only has 75 health, but it can take a little bit of time to get rid of if you don't have the proper equipment. This is where those Sapphire Bolts Enchanted come in. They do have the clarity effect as their special attack, so when you do that, it will take a large chunk of that down. If you have the Zerite crossbow and use the special attack, get a good hit, it will almost always take it down to 50 or 75% health in the shielded phase. As for the shielded phase, you will have to pray ranged or magic depending on what attack is coming at you, but you will also need to flick smite as you are attacking. So you want to make sure that you start this phase off tick. So you want to attack the Muspah with Smite on and immediately switch to your ranged prayer. After the Muspah starts its attack animation, you can then switch back to Smite while your bolt is firing and then immediately back to ranged prayer. The Muspah will also mix some magic attacks in here, and you will have to be wary because during this phase, the Muspah gains a boost to its range and magic level, increasing its accuracy and maximum hit. You can die very quickly, if not get one shot, while you are less than 70 HP. So definitely keep your prayer up. Additionally, the Muspah's prayer shield will actually drain by 2 after each attack that it throws. So eventually the phase will be over, even if you just stood there and did nothing. But obviously you want to get it over as quick as possible and hope for some enchanted sapphire bolt special attacks to hit. Once you have drained the prayer shield, the Muspah will revert back to its ranged form, and it will create a lot of spikes that pop up out of the ground. Now this is where it can get a little hectic. You'll have a little bit less room to move, so you want to try to take down this final form here as fast as you can. Every 4 attacks, the Muspah will create more spikes, one on the tile that you're standing on, and multiple spikes from the spikes that are already existing in the room. So if it goes south here, you want to have your teleport ready, because if you run out of room, you will immediately die when you are pushed into a group of spikes and there is no more room for you to run out of. Example fights and kills. All right, so I'm here, I'm ready to get my kill started. As for my gear, I'm going with the best in slot range setup, minus the light bearer. I don't have the Zerite crossbow, so I don't need a light bearer. So I'm going with the Ring of Suffering RI. In my inventory, I don't have an Armadillo crossbow or again, the Zerite crossbow. So I'm just using the Dragon Hunter crossbow because I have it and it does shoot the Sapphire Dragon bolts. As for the magic weapon, I'm using the Sanguinesti staff. I don't have a Tumican Shadow yet. So this setup is still great. It's almost best in slot. I'm just missing a couple of items. Now, before we go in, this boss can start with either ranged or melee attacks. So I always go in with my range gear and hope that it starts with range. If it doesn't, quickly switch to mage gear and start throwing a barrage. So for this, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to drink my Bastion potion, hit my imbued heart, and I'm going to go ahead and go in. So we'll see what he starts with here. He's going to start with melee, so we're going to switch to magic gear real quick, throw a barrage, got it, turn protect from melee off. Now in this phase, the boss is not going to use any magic attacks during the melee phase. So you don't have to worry about flipping the magic prayer here. The magic attacks that corrupt you will only come in the ranging form. All right, so he's going to get close to me. I'm going to put pray melee on, try to freeze him again. And there we go, got him. All right, so there's a form change, got a spike coming up underneath of me, got a visual indicator there, and magic attack, flip to magic, back to range. You get a visual indicator under your feet for these, just like in the Chambers of Xeric with the spikes that come up there. All right, back to melee. So we're going to switch to magic gear, throw a barrage, got him, protect from melee off. And we're just going to continue maging. Now, one of the special attacks is going to come up right here. It's going to be the traveling spikes right now. So these move very slowly, very, very easy to avoid. And he's coming after me again. We'll see if that might be a form change. Yes, it is. Range prayer and rigor. Back to my range gear. And we're just going to range. So about quarter HP, you'll see a special attack. And then about half HP, you'll see another one. And he's back to melee. This should trigger. Yep. So I'm going to run over here to this tile I have marked. I find that this tile here, I rarely ever have to move. I don't know what it is about this tile, but you can see here that none of these little clouds have come after me. There's one right there that's going to hit me. So that one is the only one that I would have had to move out of the way, but I kind of just stood there. I don't know why. So we're going to go back to melee prayer since he's in melee form, and we're going to throw barrage. Hopefully I catch him before he gets me. Nope. And then we're just going to go ahead and mage, turn off protect from melee. And back to maging. Every time this boss slams the ground and changes forms, you're going to get another spike under your feet, and the spikes are going to grow outward from what they have already started as. So you're always going to get more spikes coming up depending on where they are. So finishing this kill in a decent amount of time is pretty crucial. You definitely want to get those spikes, you don't want to have too many of them. All right, now for this form, I'm standing behind this one to protect from the shockwave. I'm going to start with Smite on, throw an attack, and then immediately to protect from range. When he starts his attack, Smite, and then back to protect from range. So attack, smite, back to protect from range. And he's going to magic attack, back to protect from range, attack, smite. Now this phase can take a bit if you're not using a Zerite crossbow with that special attack. But regardless, you just want to make sure your prayer switches are good so you can get those hits. And I'm going to step back here and we're going to continue ranging. Watch out for magic attacks. I'm going to go ahead and eat one here just so I get some HP. And this should be the end of the kill. There's a magic attack. Get that. And boss is dead. So that was a pretty good kill. Not bad at all. Nice. Rare drop table. So I'm actually going to go ahead. Let's do another one just for the video's sake so you guys can see it again. For that one, I did not have to use a dose of stamina. The stamina is more of an insurance policy, especially if you're just starting out with this boss. It can get a little hectic. You'll be running around a lot trying to switch gear. So the stamina potion is nice to have. I'm going to go ahead and use it anyways. We're going to go back in. Let's do one more kill on video so you guys can see it again, and I will talk through it as well. Starting out with range this time. Nice. So we're going to start ranging. And then that should be a form change. I'm going to move, protect from melee and augury. I'm going to throw a barrage. Got him. Protect from melee off. Going to keep maging. I like to try to move around to wherever I'm going to have the most room. I'm going to move to the other side of him here. There's a form change. Back to range prayer and rigor. Back to the twisted bow. And we're going to start ranging. All right, so about quarter HP. You got one special attack here. And I'm just going to go ahead and start ranging him. I'm going to watch for these. Now for these, they only move in one direction. So if you see them coming, just get out of the way. All you have to do is step out of the way. They always move in the same direction they start. They don't have any random attack patterns where they're just going to change directions. They're always going in the exact same direction. So it's actually easiest just to stand on that tile and continue attacking while you actually watch those little clouds. If you see one getting close on your path, just take a step out of the way. And the best part about that form is actually you can just keep attacking the boss throughout that form. It's not an issue. Your character will chase it around as it is moving. So you don't have to worry about unfocusing or anything like that. All right, so now we have the moving spikes again. We're just going to move out of the way a little bit, protect from melee off, conserve a little bit of prayer. Just want to stay out of the way. All right, back to range. And we're going to start moving around a little bit. Then we're just going to watch out for magic attacks here. There's another good hit. Back to melee. I want to try to get away from him while I switch my gear. Hopefully not splash the barrage. We're going to move. Splash the barrage anyways. And we're going to get out of the way. Got that one. And then back to maging. And we should be getting here. Yep, that's the form. So we're going to get behind some of these pillars. Make sure we don't get hit by the special attack. There we go. Smite. Back to range. Should probably put on the right weapon first. There we go. All right, so he's attacking me. Go ahead and smite. And here comes a magic attack. And smite. 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 Magic attack. Smite. And that's it. I'm going to step away. There's going to be a spike coming. And then we're just going to go right back to ranging. It probably would have went a whole lot better if I didn't mess up my inventory. Get out of the way. And by the way, those spikes on the final form are going to come up every 4 attacks. So every 4 attacks, you're going to get more spikes growing outward. So you want to try not to take too long on this last final phase. And there is another kill. Done. Very easy. Oh, frozen cache. What's in there? Got some ancient essences from the frozen cache. All right, cool. So that's it. This boss is very, I guess you could say, very intuitive when it comes to a solo boss. But regardless, the boss is actually really fun. It definitely keeps my interest. A lot of other quest bosses, a lot of other bosses in general anymore just really don't they really don't keep my interest like this one. Ending words. So that is it, guys, for this guide. I hope that you have enjoyed this video, and if it's your first time killing the Phantom Muspah, I hope that this guide has pointed you in the right direction. All in all, I think Jagex really did a good job with this boss. I know a lot of the bosses that have come out in the past, after 25 or 50 kills, I've found them very stale, but this one, I'm almost 100 KC now, and I still am very interested in this boss. It keeps me active, it keeps me paying attention. It's actually really fun for me. So I hope that you guys can enjoy this one as much as I have. If you like this video, please leave a thumbs up down below. If you haven't done so yet, tap the subscribe button on your way out. If you haven't checked out my Etsy merch store for old school RuneScape stuff, there is a link in the description below. All kinds of cool stuff in there. Pint glasses, beer mugs, koozies, stickers, t-shirts, all kinds of good stuff. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you on the next one. Take it easy.